Okay, a little background first. 2012 Dodge Ram 3500. Cummins motor. I don't know, supposedly high output. You know how that shit goes. I don't think that means shit. Okay, here's the rundown. It's got 4-link air ride on the rear. Okay, no leaf springs, nothing like that. See if you can see this. There we go. 4-link air ride. I did air ride on the front. Self levelers on all 4 corners. Okay. I deleted this truck at 2,000 miles. The reason for that was I was getting about 8 miles to the gallon when it was new, so I deleted it. I was running a Smarty programmer. I put a bunch of work into the motor, head studs, blew the head gasket, had 80,000 miles. I did went into the motor, did the head work, did a bunch more work in the motor, spent about 8,000 in the motor. Cold air system, 4-inch lines going to from the turbo to the intercooler, from the intercooler to the intake. Mishimoto high flow intercooler, aluminum radiator, fan clutch, hydraulic fan clutch. Fits a 1995 Ford 7.3 liter diesel. The fan fits a Ford 6.0. Banks high flow intake ram horn. Okay, and the reason I put the Allison transmission in, this truck currently only has 90,000 miles. It ate the transmission. That's what's left of the adapter plate, flywheel, and the transmission. I can't move it, but the intake shaft on it just wobbles around like nothing. I'm thinking that the input bearing on the transmission might have went out. Let the flex plate move, which took out the torque converter and everything else. It actually grinded the rear main silt out of the motor, and that had to be replaced. So let's get into the conversion. I did my conversion is from Custom Automatic Conversions in Florida. They are very, very good people. Okay, here's my transmission. You can see the CAC sticker on the Allison transmission. It's a built transmission. It is rated 56,000 pounds, 100% duty cycle. The torque converter has 3 clutches in it. It locks up totally. It was supposed to lock up totally at about 15 miles per hour, but this one does not. It locks up at about it's closer to 20 to 23 miles per hour. The electrical was pretty straightforward and simple. I don't know if you can see it in there. I'll climb under here with the iPad. There's the controller for the transmission. Shifters, bell housing. I had an issue when I got mine together. The adapter plate, it all comes in the kit. I mean, it is really a good kit, straightforward. My problem was on this, and sorry about the camera getting moved around so much, I'm using my iPad. There is a output speed sensor right here. Okay, so I could read, it would go up to about 50 RPMs on the output speed sensor, and then it would go into neutral. What was happening is I over tightened that output speed sensor, and it was touching the reluctor ring in there, or whatever you call that stupid ring. It was touching it, and it was hitting the end, so it would not read. The owners of CAC, Dave and then Matt, 2 different days in a row, spent about 4 hours on the phone with me, and we were trying to diagnose this and figure out why it was doing that. We finally traced it down to that output speed sensor. Anyway, this is the 6-speed version. It is a monster now. This truck is totally different. It is finally a truck that I can tow with. I tow heavy when I tow. I use a 40-foot gooseneck trailer that weighs 7,500 pounds. I don't know why my iPad just went blank. But anyway, here's my trailer that I tow with it. When I blew up my transmission, I was coming back from Denver with a 15,000-pound trencher on my gooseneck trailer. I had the cruise control set on 70 miles per hour. And my wife and I went over a little hill, and as soon as it took the pressure off the transmission, the damn thing just literally exploded and pieces went everywhere. So anyway, this is my conversion to an Allison. I couldn't be happier. And if you have a Dodge, I very much recommend that you do the Allison conversion from CAC Conversions. It was $13,000. We did the programming. The wiring came with it. Very nice setup. The inside of the truck, there was a few things that had to be hooked up on the inside. You have to hook a wire to your throttle sensor. It's one wire. It's not a big deal. It's very simple. You hook up one wire to your a light. I put a light in mine to tell me if the transmission has any codes. It's just a cheap little light from O'Reilly's. If there's anything goes wrong with the tranny, it kicks on, and it's very simple. You hook 2 wires to your tap shifter, so your tap shifter still works on your gear shifter. That still works. Currently I'm sitting at 94,000 miles. Your display that shows park, reverse, neutral, and drive on the 2012 does no longer work. It uses this display, and let me put the key in there and I'll show you what I mean. This display not that display. See the park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then manual. And in manual, you use the tap shifter, and you can shift it to the highest gear that you want to, that you select. I did have to reprogram my ECM. The programming was very simple. I do now have this programmer instead of the Smarty programmer. The programmer is this GDP tuning. They emailed me the programs. I put it on here and then install it into the truck, onto the ECM, and reprogram the entire ECM. It's very simple, very easy to do. Anybody can do it. I would say on this conversion, if you can change your own oil, you can do this conversion. It's that easy. If you have problems, the people at CAC are very, very, very helpful, easy to work with. And if you have the same experience that I had, it's very easy. They help you out tremendously. Oh, and I did have to do the drive lines. The front drive line had to be lengthened by 2 inches. The rear drive line had to be shortened by 2 inches. It cost me $300 extra. It's no big deal. So, do I recommend it? Yes, I highly recommend it. Especially if you have a 68 RFE in your truck. If you tow at all, you're probably going to be going through trannies, and you need to do something different. And I recommend putting the Allison transmission in there from CAC Conversions. It's night and day difference. I love the way this thing drives. Torque converter locks up, and it just pulls like a monster now. And the horsepower is crazy. It's just a totally different truck. I will change those lines. I'm gonna put hydraulic lines on here and go from the front to the back here. This is just kind of temporary at the moment. Anyway, thanks for watching.